Welcome to the television edition of Radio Friends, where we feature guests from all over central Missouri. This week, we'll find out about the ins and outs of using our computers and the legislative forum. All that and a lot more. So let's get started right now. Filling in for Stacy Pottinger. Oh, poor Stacy. She fell off her bicycle.
I know, poor thing.
And she broke her hand.
Yeah, I know. So if you know her, send her some chocolates.
Okay. Barbie Banks is with us. Good to have you here, Barbie.
Thank you.
What do you want to talk with today about Ragtag?
I would love to talk. I mean, we have great stuff going on at the cinema, but we have our festival coming up. True False Film Fest is coming up March 3rd through 6th, and we are in need of volunteers. And so I'd love to talk a little bit about what kind of volunteers we need and what precautions we're taking to make sure our volunteers stay
so what kind of
safe.
volunteers do you need?
We need all types. We need ones that are artists that are willing to help we bring in artists from all over the country, and we need people to help them build their projects that they're going to have in our, all around town that weekend. And then we need venue managers, so people who are going to be in our venues, ripping tickets, scanning tickets, making sure everybody has a good time, keeping their mask on and that kind of stuff.
So what precautions are you taking?
Yeah, so we are going to require everybody who comes to the fest to be vaccinated, including our volunteers.
So they have to show their card.
Yep.
Now, when you say vaccinated, are you saying fully vaccinated with the booster shot?
So we're following what the CDC says, and so currently the CDC says just the 2 shots.
Okay.
If they change that, we will change what we require. So
yeah, I tell you what, if you had the 2 shots, go get your booster shot. Go get the booster shot.
Highly recommending the booster for everybody. And then we will be providing KN95 masks for all of our volunteers so that they have a little bit more sturdy of a mask. And then lots of hand sanitizer and lots of space. So for them to stay distant as much as they can.
Okay. So if you want to volunteer, you have to show your proof of vaccination. What about people who come to the festival? Are they going to have to show proof of vaccination too?
Yes, so we'll require vaccinations for all attendees, or people who can't get vaccinated. We will accept a negative test. It has to be a PCR test, and it has to be within 72 hours of attending.
So you're going to have extra volunteers just to verify everybody that's attending.
Yeah, we will be using a program that you've probably seen it if you've gone to the Fox Theater in St. Louis, or similar to what Roots and Blues did, where you can upload it at home and it's verified for you. And so that takes a little pressure off our volunteers to know what they're looking at. So.
Well, it reminds me of what Hawaii has, the Safe Travel Hawaii.
Yes.
You have to upload all of your information ahead of time, and then they verify it at the airport before you you board the plane, and then when you get to Hawaii, it's verified again.
Right.
Otherwise, you're put back on the plane. You go back to the mainland.
Yeah, and we have our volunteer coordinator, Tricia, and assistant volunteer coordinator, Natalie, who will help all of our volunteers with this. We want to make it as easy as possible, but also safe as possible.
Well, I appreciate that. And will Stacy, she'll be there with her cast
Yes,
on?
I hope so. I mean, we're kind of waiting on news of what she has to get done, and then, but Stacy is such a vibrant part of our festival that I can't imagine her not being around and
exactly
being
and
there.
To see what color her hair is going to be that day too.
Exactly. Okay. I also think she's going to dress in a chicken suit from a Como Gives competition that she did.
All right.
So,
so if people want more information on the True False Film Festival, if they want to get tickets, what do they do?
They go to our website. We'll have everything, so truefalse.org. You can also stop by our box office at Ragtag. Our box officers have a ton of information, but the website's the best bet. It has everything on there, from passes to tickets to volunteering.
All right. Barbie Banks, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure having you here. I love that smile of yours.
Thank you.
And get well fast, Stacy.
Stacy,
All right. Now, I want to introduce you to my good friend, Scott Bradley from Carpet One Floor and Home. Good to have you here, Scott.
Paul, thanks for having me.
And Happy New Year, by the way.
It is.
Now, the one thing we have been doing with you is talking about environmentally friendly floor covering. That's so important to take care of our environment. And I don't know how you do it, but every time you come up with a new product that is very environmentally friendly. And you got a piece of carpet here today that you were telling me it's made from corn?
Yes, a portion of this is made from plant-based materials, and it's fully recyclable. And no VOCs. It's hypoallergenic.
Explain what is VOCs?
VOCs are volatile organic compounds, which are things that have been found to cause cancer.
Okay. So there's no VOCs and there's no formaldehyde? Now, formaldehyde is in a lot of carpet, isn't it?
Yes, a small amount. It's very common in adhesives.
Okay.
But they're very low emissions to where they're not harmful to people.
Uh-huh.
So carpets are tested very stringently.
But there's none of this stuff in this carpet.
No, this is a synthetic option, and it's typically more affordable than a wool carpet. And it has the added benefits of the stain repellency and a little more different looks than wool carpets
and
can
as
offer
far
you.
as and I'm feeling this, and it feels very soft.
Yeah.
It feels soft, but it feels firm, and it feels like it would last for a long time.
Yes, it's made for durability. So it has a very tight twist, very dense. The backing is very flexible.
And what about stain? Since this is synthetic, is it going to be stain resistant?
Yes, extremely stain resistant because the fibers don't absorb a lot of the chemicals that would be spilled on a carpet. So it's very easy to clean.
So manufacturers now are listening to what the public is asking for, and that is environmentally friendly products. When you talk to your customers, do you find that a lot of people are coming in and saying they're concerned about what we're doing to the environment, and I want something that's going to be good for it, or at least not hurt it?
Yeah, from what I pay attention to, price is usually fourth or fifth on their mind, and health is like number one. So they're looking for healthy floor choices because they're trying to minimize, off-gassing in homes and what they're subjecting their pets to and their children and other family members.
And all of this is safe for the pets, it's safe for the kids, safe for you, it feels good, it's going to last 25 years or so. All right, what do they ask if they this particular, what is this?
This is a 50% smart strand and 50% PET polyester.
But what do you call it? If they're
this here is called softback.
Softback.
Or not softback, I'm sorry. It's like an arrow type backing.
So if they come in and they want more information about what they saw on Radio Friends.
Yeah, just come in, talk to me. I'll catch them up and
got it.
Get
All
them
right.
set up.
Now I want to introduce you to Robert Ricketts, who is with us from IT Como. Good to have you here.
Thank you
Robert.
for having me today.
Now, what is IT Como?
So IT Como is a one-man computing firm that does IT consulting for small businesses and residential clients as well.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about using our computer safely. And the most important thing, when you came in here today, I said, what's the most important thing? You said security.
Yes.
Security. What's the biggest mistake we make with security on our computer?
Probably the number one mistake folks make is clicking on fraudulent emails.
And how do you know if it's a fraudulent email or not?
Sometimes it takes a geek's eye to determine if an email is fraudulent, but there are some telltale signs that can help you to decide if that email is fraudulent. Maybe the wording of the email, the English isn't quite right. The from address, maybe it's from a .com you're not familiar with, or it's asking for personal information, or it's asking you to click on something or call a number that you're not familiar with.
I told you earlier this week I got an email, and it said that my reoccurring payment to Norton's of $469.
Yes.
Now that's an awful lot of money to pay for security on your computer. Normally it's about $50 or $60.
That's right.
But it said my reoccurring payment would be charged within several days for $469. If I wanted more information, please call this number.
That's right.
Now, I realized, first of all, I don't have Norton's, I have McCaffkey.
Yes.
And I went to my credit card online, make sure there was nothing there.
That's right.
I deleted it. You said that was a hoax.
That's right. Yes.
And you've seen those?
I've seen dozens of those.
So if somebody gets an email saying that their reoccurring payment to Norton's for $469 or whatever, it's a hoax. Just delete it.
That's right. And it's not just Norton. I mean, McAfee, the emails are sent out fraudulently in the name of McAfee as well.
What happens if you call that 800 number that's on that email to say, I didn't authorize this, don't charge me?
That's right. So when you call that number, which may or may not be a toll-free number, first of all, they're going to have the caller ID of your phone number. So now they know that you responded to their bait. So that tells them that, kind of puts you on a sort of a sucker list, so to speak. So you're more likely to get more of those kinds of emails. Furthermore, because they have your caller ID, they'll put you on various robodial lists. They'll sell your number on sort of the dark web. You may start receiving more robodials.
All right. So again, if you suspect something is a scam, just delete it.
Just delete it. Never reply, never call the number, never click on the link. Just delete it. In that case, your first clue was that it was for such an exorbitant amount of money, $400 and some odd dollars. As you said, Norton is $50 or $60.
Yeah. What's some of the other things that we need to keep in mind?
Well, so that's probably the single biggest way that threats come in, or people get viruses on their computer.
What about on our phones? Can we get viruses on our phones too, like the computers?
You can. So the two big phones are iPhone and then Android. The iPhone is a bit more secure because of its closed ecosystem that prevents you from downloading things. Android is not quite as safe in that regard, so I typically recommend iPhones. But you don't need a security product on those devices.
That's what I was going to ask you. The phones don't need a security product.
No.
But what about the tablets?
Well, at least in the Apple ecosystem, the tablets and the phones run basically the same operating system.
If you have an Android tablet, is it going to need...
Well, that's almost a non-event. Most people don't have Android tablets.
Oh, I do.
But
Okay. So do I need a security system?
Probably not. Android, even though it may be a little bit less secure than Apple phones, it's still way more secure than your computer.
Okay, so the computer is the main thing that you want to make
That's
sure
right.
that you have security on it. It's not a wasted money to do the security.
No, that's right.
And what about when you get these notices for updates on your computer? How do you know that those updates are actually legitimate, that they're sending you a notice to click now to update?
Well, if you're receiving an email that you need to update, the chances of that being legitimate declines a bit. Most legitimate updates are automatic. They happen without you knowing it. And that happens because you actually have the product that needs to do the updating. You don't have to be baited into it with an email.
Okay, so if you're running Windows, it's going to automatically...
That's right.
It's going to tell you that it's going to do an update, and that's legitimate.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you get an email saying that you need to click on this for an update, it probably is a scam.
That's right.
As far as checking our bank accounts and our credit card accounts on the computer or on the phone, is there a risk with that?
The phone is safer because, again, the phone is harder to compromise. So if you have the app, the banking app on your phone for whoever your bank is, then that is the safer way to access your bank account.
More so than on the computer.
That's right.
Okay.
But if you're familiar with your bank's computer, their website interface, when you go to the nameofyourbank.com, then that's typically safe as well. But because computers are more likely to be compromised than a mobile device, then it is safer to access on your mobile phone.
We're almost out of time. I want to have you come back again, and maybe we can talk about how we can speed up our computers.
Oh,
but
yes.
In a 30-second period, is there anything that we can do if our computer is running slow to make it run faster?
The number one thing that slows down what appears to be your computer speed is really not the computer itself, not today. It's the Wi-Fi issue inside your home or in your office. There's things we can do to speed up the Wi-Fi, which kind of is the grease that makes everything else work a little bit better.
So there are things you can do to speed up your Wi-Fi,
Yes.
even if you don't have the fastest speed?
That's right.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that next time.
That's
then.
right.
All right, if people want more information, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, my domain name is very simple, itcomo.com.
Okay, itcomo.com.
All my contact info is on there.
What's the most important resolution that people can make for good dental health?
Just to have a good, solid home care routine. And what we recommend, brushing 2 times a day for 2 minutes each time, preferably in the morning and preferably in the evening, last thing you do before you go to bed. Floss nightly, and if they need to feel like they incorporate a mouth rinse or anything like that with it, that can be a good addition to it as well. But just having a good, solid routine and making sure it is that 2 minutes each time, not cutting yourself short on time.
Right. Now, if you have an electric toothbrush, it pretty much times it for you, that 2 minutes. It tells you when the 2 minutes is up. If people do not have electric toothbrushes, is that a good investment to make as far as good dental health? Or is brushing the old-fashioned way just by hand just as good?
You can brush with a manual toothbrush just as well, but I do think that an electric toothbrush makes things easier. The way you brush and the technique you use also plays a factor into how healthy you keep your gums and how well you're brushing.
So. Yeah, I started using an electric toothbrush, I guess it was 8 or 9 years ago. And your father was my dentist at the time before you took over. And he was telling me, boy, electric toothbrushes are really good for you because they get places where you don't get and it force you to brush longer. And it's true. My mouth just felt, when I started using an electric toothbrush, it felt cleaner than before. Plus, using a water pick gets out gunk that you don't even realize is there. Doesn't a water pick get out more than flossing, or is flossing still the best thing to do?
I think they work differently, but a water pick can definitely get out a lot of that stuff between your teeth, underneath the gums, and it also depends on the anatomy of your teeth and how your teeth are spacing and all of that.
Yeah.
So.
And if patients have like implants or bridges or additional work, the water pick can come in handy to clean in different areas that might be harder to reach with traditional flossing and things like that. And it's the same thing with the electric toothbrush. They can clean in areas that might be harder to reach with the manual, or to accommodate for maybe a person's lack of proper technique with a manual toothbrush. The electric toothbrush can kind of make up for that and allow for more thorough cleaning without them having to focus on having that ideal technique with the manual toothbrush.
Right. I'm not trying to sell water picks or electric toothbrushes, but I use both of them. And if one night I don't use the water pick, my mouth just doesn't feel as clean. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't feel as tingly. Yep. When you finish water picking and brushing with that electric toothbrush, your mouth just feels like it's alive and vibrant. And I guess that's because it's massaging the gums too.
And it's just probably getting to places where with the manual and more thorough, probably just a more thorough clean for you too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the next thing that we need to think about as far maybe what we eat and how we eat?
Diet plays a big factor. I know every New Year people always make dietary, resolutions, or a lot of people do for, whether they want to lose weight or feel better. And part of that goes with your oral health. Look at the amount of, obviously sugars and sweets you're eating or drinking, soda, those sweet, sugary, drinks, energy drinks, even what you're adding to your coffees or teas have a big factor if you're adding things with sugar to them. Also the acidity in your diet. If you have a highly acidic diet, coffee is an acidic drink as much as people love their coffee, or high fruit diet, just, that can add to potential sensitivity issues. So just being aware of what's in your diet as well can also help improve your oral health.
Is there anything else in general that we should think about that it doesn't pop into our heads?
I think just reevaluating if you're on a good schedule with your dentist office.
I was going to bring that up.
If a lot of people I know even we always said 2020 and 2021 as people were kind of got off schedule due to the pandemic and things, but just kind of reevaluate if you've kind of been less than regular, get back in, have a professional look things over, and just hopefully give you a clean bill of health. But also if there's something that they can find and preventatively take care of too, that was staying ahead of the game instead of being. We always like to be proactive instead of reactive with potential issues.
It's important to have your teeth cleaned at least 2 times a year, whether you realize it or not. Even if you're brushing every day and you're flossing every day and you're water picking every day, you still can't get to the parts of the teeth that a dental hygienist can.
Absolutely.
In cleaning it. And getting those little tiny nooks and crevices there. So every 6 months with a dental, seeing your professional dentist is an important thing to do to keep your mouth healthy. And the thing that I know I've read about many times, if you've got an infection in your mouth and it's not taken care of, it can spread through the rest of your body. And the dentist is one of the first lines of defense there.
Yes, I think that is something we forget, is that our oral health is connected to the rest of our body as well. So making sure that our mouth stays healthy is important.
Wally Pfeffer, good to have you here. You're talking about the 20th Annual Legislative Forum. I guess we didn't do that last year, did we, with COVID?
No. Well, we had the forum, but it was all by Zoom.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Right.
So the last one in person was 2 years ago.
So what's the big deal with the Legislative Forum this year?
Well, the focus I'm going to have with our legislators is you all have positions of leadership within your chambers. You might be committee chairs or majority floor leader. You also have positions of leadership in your caucus. The university has, as always, some very definite ideas on where funding should go from the General Assembly. And part of that this year, that's a pretty substantial part of it, is what do we do with the federal stimulus money that the states received? Years ago, the General Assembly passed legislation where if a donor said, I've got money here for a project, they would go to the legislature and say, we've got half the money for this project. Let's get the capital improvement projects moving down the list, and we've got money to make this happen, so we can save you some money on this. The university's taking a similar approach on projects on each of the 4 campuses by saying, if you will give us $50 million for this, we will raise the other $50 million to finish that project. So this is an opportunity, I think, for the General Assembly to see a great investment, great return on investment for them. And I want to know how our local legislative delegation is going to help us achieve that goal for this session.
Okay, and that's what you will be dealing with.
That'll be part of our legislative focus this year, along with the usual, we need to participate in inflationary increase for the university's core budget. Other institutions received money that we did not, so we'd like to see some equity funding added. And then there's always repair and maintenance funding that has to go on here at the university. So
just like your house, you constantly have to do repairs and maintenance, and the university has to constantly do repairs and maintenance.
Don't own a home if you want to be shelling out for flooring and all the rest of it.
That's right. Now, what about people? How can people get involved with just the general public? Can they get involved with this?
Yes, I think you'll have up on the screen here shortly the website where people can register to come to the forum.
Go ahead and tell us.
It's mizzouevents.com or mizzou.com and go to the events tab, but I think there's a better email
so
address.
You want to go to www.mizzou.com, not .org.
No, .com.
Okay, www.mizzou.com/BCLEG Forum 22.
Yes, sir.
And the BCL has to be capitalized?
No, it should be okay.
BCL League, as BCL League Forum 22, but all
it's
is
like
one
Boone
word.
County Legislative Forum 22.
Got it. Okay, and if you didn't get that, you can Google it for more information.
Yes. Or they can reach out to the Alumni Association or to me.
What's a phone number they can reach?
882-6611.
And what phone number is that?
That's the Alumni Association.
The Alumni Association, 882-6611. 1 for
Yes.
more information.
Yes, sir.
Wally Pfeffer, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Don't
Well,
stay
thanks.
away for 2 years.
Well, I won't. Hopefully we'll be back in the spring and
Yeah.
talk about a wine and chocolate event.
All right, stay healthy.
I will, sir. Good
Wally
to see
Pfeffer.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, our next guest is making her first appearance on our program. Abby Reimel from Daniel Boone Regional Library. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And you want to talk about the winter reading program. Tell me about it.
Yes, the winter reading program. This is actually the second year that we're doing this. We started it in the midst of the pandemic, and it's a very low-key reading program that's mostly just aimed at getting our patrons engaged and utilizing the library to enrich their lives in the deepest, darkest days of winter.
Yeah, the deepest, darkest days of winter. I think we say that. And then some of the darkest days of the pandemic that's been going on for 2 years.
Yes.
And you can immerse yourself in a book.
Exactly.
And you can escape from it all. You
Yeah.
can escape from the cold. You can escape from the gray.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. So are you pushing any particular book for the winter reading program?
We are not. The winter reading program is a really self-directed kind of program. When you get online and sign up with us at www.dbrl.org/winter-reading.
Okay, it's www.dbrl.org/.
Yes.
Winter
Winter-reading.
Winter-reading.
Yes.
And what are they going to see there?
You register with us there, and when you do, you can register either as an individual or as a family. You can register your whole family, and you set your own reading goal.
Okay.
So say you wanted to read all of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books this winter. You can set that as your reading goal.
And this is all on the honor system.
Of course.
There won't be any, you don't have to have any proof that you did this.
No.
Okay.
There's no tracking or anything like that. You just come back to us later and you fill out the form to finish and let us know, and then you can come claim your prize.
Okay. But you're going to know because you're going to have a record of them checking out these books.
Well, I suppose that certainly is a possibility.
But you're not doing any double checking.
But
on
we're
that.
not checking it.
Okay. All right.
And I brought along something.
Yeah.
The prize, the finishing prize for adults is this lovely stadium blanket.
Oh, that is
which
nice.
I'm just
Yeah, Daniel Boone Regional Library, and it's a stadium blanket.
Yeah.
If Sarah Howard were here, she would say, this lovely stadium blanket.
Yes, I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a lovely stadium blanket, and you can use it for a picnic. You could keep it in your car for an emergency blanket.
Yeah, or if
Say
you're sitting around watching television and you're
Yeah.
chilly, you can use it. You don't have to use
Yeah.
it just in the stadium.
You don't have to go to the stadium.
Okay.
So yes, that's available for the adults when they finish the program, and then of course with the children, when they come in, they can get a book, the appropriate age range book.
Okay,
they
that you
choose.
finish the program. So
Yes.
you go online, you sign up what you're going to read. Then when you finish the program, you go in, and if you did everything you said you were going to do online,
Yes.
you get that lovely stadium blanket, and the kids get a book.
That's correct.
All
And
right.
the program's going on right now. It started January 17th.
And it runs until?
February 25th.
Okay, so you got a little bit more than a month yet to do it.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
You're
Abby.
very welcome.
I appreciate you coming by. Stay healthy. Continue your good work at Daniel Boone Regional Library. We're out of time today. If something you'd like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu.